This is out of control. I almost went live last night, but I was tired. I can't believe what's happening right now. I can't believe it, but I'm not surprised kind of thing. One of these things where you see it all happening and you hope you're wrong, but you know you're not going to be. I mean, this is just insane, you guys. This is just insane. Because of Netanyahu, we're at war. Like, I said this to my buddy last night, and he said, well, was there a declaration of war? I said, what part about any of this makes you think they give a shit about following rules and procedures? Earlier in the day, Trump gave it 2 weeks. Trump said there was 2 weeks until a 2-week deadline until diplomacy had to be reached or some shit. And then last night, while everybody's in bed, we commit an act of war. I just don't understand what the fuck anybody in their right mind would be still supporting this. All of you American First Trumpanzees. You know, we have the ugly hobo here, the big ass bootlicker. This dude would blow Trump if in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. He'd get that orange paint all over his fucking mouth. This dude would absolutely give Netanyahu a rim job. You know, and it's interesting how we immediately get those same bad guy land trolls. It's just so crazy because again, if you it doesn't matter whether you agree with my philosophies or my perspective on life or whatever. When you see that America is getting dragged into a war that nobody wants to be a part of, like that is completely manufactured by Netanyahu, start to finish. I mean, I've been screaming this to you guys for a very long time, but especially since the October 7th false flag. And you know there has to be a false flag coming from this, which is weird because even if Iran attacks the United States, it can't even be a false flag anymore because they'd be totally justified. They'd be completely, totally justified for attacking us right now. I just don't understand what's taking them so long. You know, the threat is that they have the big bomb and that they can do whatever. They're the biggest threat. They have this huge bomb, blah, blah, blah. Why haven't they dropped the bomb on bad guy land yet? I mean, I don't. It's just so weird. Like, what are we fucking witnessing here? They are such ugly, awful people. And the sad part is, it's that ugly, awful nature that they have that's being used. You know, the Netanyahus, the Trumps of the world, they don't care about your low-level fucking bad guy. They don't care about the low-level settler or anything. They don't give a shit about you. You're just being used. And all you dumb American chosen pieces of shit, you're just being used. They don't give a fuck about you. The only reason you matter is so you can continue to support their bullshit and stay put and not revolt. Then leave our country. I love when dumbass Americans don't know what being American means. If you don't like it, then leave. That's literally like this dude can't make any other arguments. He can't make any. He's just a fucking sympathizing piece of shit. But he's actually probably just one of them. But he's just a piece of shit. He's a pedophile. You know, these are pedophile, genocidal maniacs. And I mean, ask yourself, who's sitting there waiting for me to go live so they can come talk shit? He was waiting. He was here within a minute. Because he's got a job to do. He's doing his job right now. He doesn't work. When does he work? It's not whenever I'm live. What's going on? The U.S. has attacked Iran. That's what's going on. The U.S. dropped bombs on Iran. For no fucking reason. No provocation, no justification. They just did it. They did it because Netanyahu wanted it. And I'm just shocked that so many people can be so easily manipulated and distracted, and it seems like it's already started, Bobby. God damn it, Bobby. I'm dancing, Dad. Cut it out. Yeah, it seems like it's already started. And that's the sad part, is like what, what do you think is going to happen here? Who do you think is going to lose out? We are. The rich and powerful aren't going to be killed. The rich and powerful aren't going to be affected by this. Blah, blah, blah. Bad guy land has a right to their holy land. For the draft, exactly. They're going to institute a draft because they want to kill us all. They want us to be killed. But again, look at how you would think the dumbass pedophile who doesn't deny being a pedophile, have an argument, would have a reasonable argument for any of this. And his shit is, they have a right to their holy land. What about Uganda? What about when they tried to do it in Uganda and they figured that the bad guys were too lazy to be able to sustain it, so they didn't do it. It's just insane. I'd fight for my freedom and join the draft. Sure you would. I'm sure you would, you coward. You're a fucking coward. You're a piece of shit. I'd spit in your fucking face and you just stand there like the dumb bitch you are. Probably open your mouth and ask for more. Fight for my freedom. Your freedom's not in danger. Your freedom has never been in danger. If you're an American, your freedom has never been in danger. It's always a ruse. Don't threaten me like that. That's assault. Okay. Crybaby. See? Crybaby coward. If you were in front of me, I would spit in your fucking face. Probably hit you in the nose. What you gonna do? Just cry. Just more crying. Oh no. Oh no, I can't make any arguments, so I'm gonna tell on you. Crybaby piece of shit. And it's not a threat, it's a promise. It's a promise. If you were in my space, if you came to my space and you were anywhere near me, I'd spit in your face and watch you cry some more. Yeah, you've been winning debates. I bet you have. Yep, because you make such good arguments. Like, this is your standard, you know, bad guy land bot. This is what they do. This is how they operate. And, you know, they're not real. They're not real people. They have the opportunity to prove they're real people. They don't. Because they're not. I've given everyone who talks shit the opportunity to... Hobo would make a good order following piece of garbage. Yeah, well, he's not real. Oh, here we go. We have some more people who I guess are in support of the U.S. going to war, of American soldiers dying for nothing. You know? Like, it's just insane what's happening right now. And of course, the cowardly bitch-ass hobo is trying to change the subject any way he can. Because he doesn't want to talk about the lack of proof for anything Netanyahu and the bad guys say. The October 7th thing, there's no proof of that. This shit's all fake. Go look at the videos you can find. It looks nothing like the videos you can find of any other real situation. Why did you ignore me? Yep. I ignore you because I can't read. I ignore your shit talk. Right. You have to love it, man. Fake, bro. You're demented. Am I? You really don't know what you're talking about. Yep. The bad guys are the ones being bombed to oblivion, not the people bombing children and starving out children and all. Nah, those are the good guys. The thing is, the dumb hobo character, again, unless he's one of them, which he could be, he's not, they would kill him. They don't like you. They don't like you. And October 7th is a false flag. No bad guys died, and no bad guys were taken hostage on that day. It's obvious. You can look for yourself. Go look for evidence to the contrary of what I'm saying. Other than a couple of obviously staged videos, there's nothing. And there's really only one video that is sort of like, wow. And that's the one where the chick has all the shit all over her butt, where she shit her pants. You know? But this is, yep, I should move to Gaza. Like, look at all these dumb, nobody can argue any point being made. So they just start saying dumb shit. And that's all you ever find, because the bad guys are the dumbest people in the world. They do these false flags and don't think there should be reasonable proof behind it. You know, there's just, it's wild. Like the other day I looked it up. I looked up Hamas attacks bad guy land. And I looked on the videos. And the funniest thing is, because they're so stupid, one of the people that was on, one of the profiles that was here that day, one of their bot profiles said, oh, well, you just pick the videos that prove your point. Like, he basically acknowledged that the video shown was bullshit, didn't show anything. You just pick the videos that prove your point. When it was the top video, it was the #1 video that popped up. And it was new footage emerges of Hamas attacking bad guy land. We're talking about the most heavily surveilled area in that region. Trillions of dollars have gone into security and surveillance in that, especially in that region. And there's no clear photo, there's no clear video showing you any of the shit that's happening. You know, it's just bullshit. It really is bullshit. They've manufactured a narrative, and because, you know, they still think much more highly of themselves than they do any of us goyim. They didn't actually kill any of them. A lot of times when there's a false flag, they don't care if they kill goyim. You know, 9/11, a bunch of goyim got killed. A bunch of chosen got a phone call not to come to work that day. They have fights into bad guy land every day. They have flights into bad guy land every day. Yeah, again, can you imagine the stupidity of that? Yeah, the 46-year-old man should strap on his red bandana, get himself his M16 and a big old knife and some grenades and some arrows with you know, explosive tips. Hop on a plane, head on over to bad guy land, and then somehow take out Netanyahu, who's in Greece, who fled to Greece, who wasn't even brave enough to stay where he is. Yup, look at all this. Yes, I did. Chosen need to have them chosen privileges unless they're normal. Not sure what the hell that means. Brandon is obsessed with my penis, apparently. And unfortunately, I was circumcised because my parents were stupid. But hey, you are obsessed with it. He thinks he's like tricking people, and he's like, oh yeah, well, I'll show you. He wants to see my dick so bad that he comes up with this kind of dumb shit because he's, you know, a fucking chosen weirdo. Yep, good job, sir, says everybody who is here. Everybody here telling me to get a job, right? Because they must be working really hard. Isn't it strange how many comments have nothing to do with what I'm talking about? Like, think about how stupid this is. All of these, we're literally at war, and all of these comments are just dumb shit. They're ignorant. They're showing their ignorance. If they actually had anything reasonable or intelligent to say, do you think they'd hold themselves back? Of course not. They'd say it. By the way, if you're watching, like, share, sub. Shit helps out. But look at all this stuff. It's not about what you're talking about. It's the fact you have nothing better to do with your time, says the person watching me. The person watching me is concerned with what I do with my time. Could be doing anything else in the world, but they're watching me and they're concerned with what I do with my time. Like, this is how stupid the bad guy side is. This is the best kind. They're making their best arguments, right? They're trying their best to say whatever intelligent shit they can come up with, but they're not intelligent. So it's like we're sorry, you know. They just can't. They don't have the ability to say anything intelligent. They're the worst pieces of shit in the world. You spread hate proudly. I proudly hate genocide, pedophilia, and slavery. Yes, proud to hate those things. It's very telling that you're not. But like I say, the majority of these profiles are pedophiles. You know, these are pedos who are desperately trying to stop someone who outwardly says, if I get any sort of position of power, you're all dead. We'll kill you. You know? If you have that history or you get caught, you're dead. Just that simple. Oh. You know, the problem with the stupid comments is I just start ignoring everything and I miss out on actual reasonable comments. Even if they are against me, I'd love to read the ones that are against me. But the stupidity is just so thick. You have no faith. You don't know what the bad people will you have no faith if you don't know that bad people will self-destruct. Oh look, Brandon wants to get eliminated. See, he's running out of shit to say, so he's gonna fly the pedo flag to get himself eliminated. Good job, Brandon. We knew you'd coward out. You would be a coward sooner or later. Out yourself as a coward. Fly the pedo flag on here, and you get removed every single time. Yep. No, I can't read. I'm just terrible. Look at me. These dumb pieces of shit. I swear, man. We're at fucking war. We're at war because a chosen piece of shit pig manipulated us, and your president is a nothing. Your president is a piece of shit. Your president that is the puppet of Netanyahu is a piece of shit. Yeah. That's your desire for power, right? Like I've said 1,000 times, if I really wanted just the attention, I'd solve Jesus. I'd push the dumb fairy tale you guys already believe. And that would be simple. I could push the Jesus fairy tale and I'd probably make a lot of money. I could be an easy televangelist. Look what I can do going against the grain. Thousands and thousands of views going against the grain. Imagine if I was pushing the thing you already accept. Look at Drago. Drago thinks he's clever. What kind of piece of shit does that? What kind of piece of shit says shit like that? Yeah. Wants power. Look at how desperate the stupidity is. You Netanyahu bootlickers. You pieces of shit. Well, there we go. We have another one. We have another pedo flag flyer. And this person looks happy cloud learning. Almost looks like a teacher of some sort. You know, somebody that's involved in the education system. Look at how disgusting they are. Okay? Look at how disgusting they are. And they're so stupid. They're disgusting and stupid at the same time. They're just, you know, and what do you expect? If you followed this situation, especially since, you know, prior to October 7th false flag, where no bad guys died or were taken hostage, then you'll see the stupidity is just, it's like ingrained, it's inbred, because they're so fucking inbred. This is an inbred population. Just look at them. Look at the where in the world is Osama bin Laden clip from Bad Guy Land, where Morgan Spurlock is standing there trying to have reasonable conversation with people, and they're just standing there yelling, like they clearly have mental deficiencies. These are clearly inbred pieces of shit. Oh, the worst about people because you feel like you're being attacked. I don't automatically assume the worst about people. I mean, again, what kind of dumb comment is that? You know, it's my stated purpose is to kill pedophiles and end the cult. If you're opposed to what I'm saying, then you are a horrible piece of shit. It's really that simple. There's no mincing words. There's no, second option. You're a piece of shit. And you need to be eliminated. You have to see how that operates. You have to see this whole thing. It's all right in front of you. They're not even smart enough to hide it any better. And they're really, they don't want to. They don't care. They don't care how upset us going to get. They don't give a shit. They know that they have us so divided over stupid shit like skin color, sexual preference, sexual identity, which sky daddy people fall for. They know they don't have to fucking do anything. We're too busy fighting each other to fight them. And until we realize, like, who the enemy really is, we're just going to keep being victimized by them. Yeah. Tell me what I need to do on my feed. Go fuck yourself. This is, it's time. I've been saying this for such a long time, watching it get worse by the day. Now we're literally involved in it. There are literally American soldiers gonna die over this bullshit. And it has nothing to do with us. And believe me, I don't buy into the whole America fake border bullshit, that they've created to begin with. Civic pride and all that shit. It's stupid. But it seems to be a really hot, like, this is what so many of you America first Trumpanzee idiots want to talk about. And then at the same time, you want to deny the significance of it. Look at the sick fucks on here that keep talking about sexual shit. Me talking about genocide and the killing of people and all that, it turns them on. So they're now talking about even more shit. That's who we're dealing with. And I don't care what they say. As long as you're not using pedophile code shit, then you're allowed to be here. I'm not going to let you shop on my feed. Since that's what they do. They use pedophile code so they don't have to use the dark web. So they can just shop out in the open. They post the pedo flag, or they say one of the pedo code words, and then somebody will reach out to them. And now they have their transaction just right over the regular ways. It's because you're not attracting the pedo. What are the pedophile code words? If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. A whole list of them got exposed with the Pizzagate scandal. And then there was a second list that was created. And I exposed that one. I'm actually really proud of that. I made it so they couldn't use that second code list. I don't know what they've done since then. But I guarantee when they fly that pedo flag, that's what they're doing. Yeah, Epstein was a bad guy land special forces operative. Like he was high level bad guy land. He was Robert Maxwell 2.0. And if you're not familiar with Robert Maxwell, well, you're not supposed to be. You're not supposed to realize how significant that character was. When, at his eulogy, one of the prime ministers that spoke at his eulogy said that they can't say all the things that this man has done for bad guy land. But he's one of the greatest, heroes. Without him, Bad Guy Land wouldn't exist. They would have lost the 67 war, for lack of a better term. It's not a war, but rake in donations. Yeah, that's what I do. Like, look at how desperate this is. Why would, if I'm talking about something so controversial and something that's like the number one trending story right now, why wouldn't you just come talk about those things? Why would you be desperately trying to talk about anything else but those things, especially since I'm wrong? You would think if you were on the right side of things, you'd just be talking about how you're on the right side of things and why you're right and, why I'm wrong. But they just never do. It's really fucking crazy. Yeah, I'm having fun. On the other hand, everyone is wrong and right at the same time. No, I'm totally right, and I'm the good guy. There's nothing okay about Bad Guy Land. There's nothing okay about that cult. That cult needs to be eliminated. They are a disgusting pedophile cult who has, just the craziest rituals. Like if any of you were, knowledgeable or present during their ritual shit, you'd stand up, you'd fight. Oh yeah, they're gonna draft me all 46. Yep. This is just insanity. This is insanity, and it's going to be like, it's the arrogance that's going to lead to the downfall. They're just too arrogant, right? They're too arrogant. They're too dismissive. They don't think we're capable of getting together and fighting against them. And that's the biggest, the biggest thing is they're just so arrogant that they think that, they don't give us a chance. They know that they have so much, like all these bots that they have out there. They know that they have a ton of control over us. And they know that we're so easily manipulated, especially using hate, that it's, like within the next few weeks, there should be another statue situation, right? Where a statue is going to get taken down somewhere in the South and everybody's going to get all upset about it. Yeah. Look at these dumb shits. Yep, I say that. I say they're arrogant, but not me. I'm the smartest and the best. You see what I mean? They can't actually make arguments, so they just make up their own shit. Again, you would think it would be a lot easier for people. Since I'm wrong, this is the number one trending story, this is a really big deal, you'd think there'd be a lot of people in here telling me why we should be attacking Iran. The arrogance is all of these dumbasses who think that they can decipher which things are the truth and which things aren't. Especially when it comes to history and shit. The arrogance is thinking somehow which stories you're being fed are real and which ones are manipulated. Instead of just understanding that it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. They're lying to you. And it doesn't take like a whole bunch of, you don't have to be super smart. Just look at what they present to you. They control your entire perception of things. So when you look at what's presented to you, does it make sense? Does it simply make easy sense? Like you can look at it and okay, I understand that. Or do you have to have some sort of faith You know, you have to have the wool over your eyes in some way for you to believe it. A great example of this is fluoride, right? Fluoride in the drinking water, according to them, like the best foot forward they can put. Remember, they're trying to convince you, they're trying to sell you their ideas. So they're going to put their best, they're going to make their best arguments, especially when it's in print. They say fluoride might have a 3 to 26% chance of preventing cavities in adult teeth. That's the narrative they want you to know. Whether it's true or not, you know, that's sort of up to you to sort of decipher, but what they want you to know is that it might have a 3 to 26% chance of preventing cavities. Now, don't ask about any of the other negative side effects because none of it gets talked about. You're supposed to believe that putting synthetic fluoride, the byproduct of fertilizer production, into the drinking water only affects our teeth in a good way. Nothing else. It doesn't affect your body in any other way. It's a toxic waste material. You know, it's something that they have a hard time disposing of properly. Yet they put it in the drinking water because it might have a 3 to 26% chance of working. If we were in a plane and I gave you a parachute and I said, all right, it's time to jump, this parachute might have a 3 to 26% chance of opening. It might open 1 in 4 times. How many of you are going to jump out that plane? I guarantee none of you do. No, the Halla hoax is just that. It's a hoax. It's clear. It's just like everything else. The evidence that's presented to you shows you that what they're saying is bullshit. Do I know everything that happened? No. But I do know they had their own theater groups. They had their own money. They had their own soccer teams. The barracks were heated, had electricity. To be killing people, why would you give them theater groups and soccer teams, and why would you heat the barracks? Why would you give them electricity and shit? If you're just gonna kill them anyway, what do you care how comfortable they are? But it's just like October 7th. There's literally no evidence behind it. The only evidence that you're given is a list of names they provide you. Speaking of chemtrails, I guess there's just no planes out flying today, huh? No planes. Nowhere. I've seen a few planes take off and leave from Detroit Metro Airport, 10, 15 miles south of here. But the usual west to east streaks that are left in the sky that go to Selfridge Air Force Base, which is about 40, 50 miles away to the east, none of that's happening today, apparently. No planes out flying. That's what it is. There's just no planes out flying. Nobody's traveling today. It's just one of those things. Oh, it's awful. Again, just look at all the comments. Look at all these fake profile, fake bot commenters that aren't condemning that we're getting drug into a war because bad guy land and Netanyahu wants it. Like there's endless videos of pundits, of talking heads, of respected journalists, pointing this out. We just have no business and we have no reason to do this. And everybody that says the dumb shit like, well, it's their fight, we should just let them fight it out. Well, sure, as long as we go in there and take all of the American weapons and money and, infrastructure and surveillance and all that shit that we've given one side of this, then yeah, they could fight it out. But you can't just be like, okay, I've totally armed this one side and the other side has nothing but rocks and sticks. Let them fight. Let's see what happens. It's been estimated. That's a lot. Again, when you start talking about that shit, you're just believing whatever narrative you choose to. They have no fucking idea about shit like that. It's all just stupid. And considering it's based on this round earth model that they want you to believe in the first place, it's even dumber. But that's a choice you make. Everybody the flat earther, they can't argue it. They haven't even looked into it. Most people that argue shit, it's because they have one side. They haven't looked at both sides and figured out like which side makes more sense. Probably getting lied to on either side, but what side does a better job? How are you dumb enough to believe that in 1969, with the computing power supposedly less than a modern day calculator, in a rover, whatever you want to call it, that apparently changes shape as needed, but the shit that they present to you, that they say, look, this is the lunar lander, it has like aluminum foil and shit on it. It's clearly just a bullshit model. But what you believe is that in 69, we went there, went around the moon, landed on it, were able to eject ourselves back off of it, catch the thing, and then fly back here. And today, in 2025, some 55 years later, we can't do it again. We just forgot how. And that's just an okay thing for you. That to me tells me that you're so much dumber than even anticipated. Why would they have been able to do it back then, but we've forgotten how to do it today? Make it make sense. All you have to do is prove your point. Your opinion is not fact. This shit that comes through is just so stupid. But look at all these things. Look at all these dumb comments. Not, oh, you're wrong because of this, and here, let me explain that. And they don't do that. It's just more and more bullshit. And for those that don't understand, we'll just quickly inform you. Again, this is according to them. You know what? Before we even go this far, let's show you because I'm going to look on Wikipedia, right? And so Naftali Bennett was the previous prime minister prior to when they put crazy ass Netanyahu in place, but only kinda, because so Bad Guy Land had 5 different or 5 separate prime ministers in a 3-year period, just under 4 years. It was Netanyahu, then it was Benny Gantz, then it was Netanyahu again, then it was this guy, Naftali Bennett, who in early 2023 just stepped down. He just stepped down. I didn't know prime ministers could just do that. And even weirder, Yair Lapid, who is like just another talking head in bad guy land, took over as acting prime minister until they brought Netanyahu in. It just, like, what? It just doesn't even make any sense. But here, check out what Naftali Bennett has to say.
In conjunction with My Israel, has arranged instruction day for
with My Bad Guy Land.
The goal of the day is to
wiki editors.
Teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
I came here to learn.
Do you understand what I just showed you? Like, again, this is called evidence. When people, the commenters talk their dumb shit, they don't provide you with anything. Now, remember, this is only exists because they want it to, right? If they didn't want this clip to exist, it would be gone. But because they want you to know, he says that right when Wikipedia is getting going, is shortly after it was founded, the guy who would become the prime minister of Bad Guy Land gives an interview where he says, we're teaching the wiki editors how to edit things, how to present the narrative. And we want people, if people are searching things like the Gaza flotilla, we want them to, we want to be there and tell them what to think. And we want to make sure that everything wiki has a balanced Zionist perspective. This is like as clear-cut evidence as anybody could produce. I don't know how else to present the truth to you guys. Right? Like it's just insane. So when I then read you stuff from Wikipedia, understand that I'm reading you the balanced Zionist perspective that they want us to have. Wikipedia is not a place where people like you and me can just, I know you have the belief that anybody can edit Wikipedia. They can't. But even if you can edit Wikipedia, it only triggers a flag in the system, and then the real editors check to see what you've said, and if what you've said fits the balanced Zionist perspective, then they'll keep it. Otherwise, they just remove it. So understand, when I then put Team Jorge into the Google machine, and then the Wikipedia article, the Wikipedia summary comes up, because there are multiple articles regarding this, but the Wikipedia has summarized it. Team Jorge is the name given to an outfit of Bad Guy Land contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farm social media disinformation campaigns to manipulate elections. So if they can manipulate the outcome of elections with this software, with this program, with this Bad Guy Land Black Ops organization, and remember, this is just one organization that they have. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of different Black Ops organizations doing the same exact thing. But if they can manipulate the outcomes of elections, what do you think they can do to just some guy's fucking YouTube page? You don't think they can manipulate that? You don't think that they can send their 30,000 bot profiles to anywhere they want to manipulate? To talk shit? This one group had 30,000 bot profiles plus in 2022 when they were exposed. Who knows how many they have now, 3 years later? Because they weren't disbanded, they were just exposed. It wasn't like it fucked things up for them. 30,000 fake bot profiles You'll hear Zuckerberg bragging left and right about how they eliminated a troll farm out of China and got rid of 1,000 profiles, or a bot farm out of Philippines and they got rid of 800 profiles. You won't find a single article where Zuckerberg is talking about how they eliminated bad guy land profiles, fake bad guy. And this one group has 30,000 profiles at their disposal. Like, it's just mind-numbing how insane that is. They could literally create a star or break someone with just this one group. Imagine how many other groups have 30,000 profiles at their disposal. So when they want to make somebody a star, they just send their 30,000 profiles to go like and comment and share. And that brings attention. Or when they want to, attack someone, look at my feed. Look at my feed and look at how, again, there's no arguing what I say here. You would think real Americans would be appalled hearing this. They have 30,000 profiles that they can just, bot profiles that I have to show an ID to have a profile. I have to jump through hoops to have a profile. Why do they get to have bot profiles with all these goofy names and shit? How do so many of these profiles just have multiple profiles just at their command? This is as clear-cut, obvious as it gets, and I don't, this is years in the making that it took me to land on all of these different things. That I could collect all of these different examples and pieces of evidence in a system where, it's admittedly controlled by bad guy land. My bad guy land. You tell me how I could do a better job. What else I could provide you to show you, these things. And I'm not even showing you like a whole bunch of different things. I'm showing you the most clear-cut and concise, obvious thing I can show you. And of course, there's literally nothing. There's nothing. Gary wants to know what I smell like. Ooh, I wonder what he smells like. What kind of weird shit is this? One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The group was exposed in February 2023 after an award-winning undercover operation by journalists from Bad Guy Land and France as part of a consortium of investigative journalists coordinated by Forbidden Stories. The organization has been active since at least 2015. 2015. I wonder if anything significant happened between 2015 and 2016. I mean, other than, of course, Russia interfered with the election to get Trump to lose by 2.7 million votes, and then the swamp that Trump swore he was going to drain, full of bad guys, put him in office anyway, and then no swamps were drained. Just like Hillary wasn't in prison like he promised. Weird, huh? Again, look at how desperate it is. This is clear-cut evidence. I'm not even on some conspiracy page or something. I'm using the information that they want us to know to make my arguments. And the opposition can only sit here and talk about their fantasies about what I smell like and shit. Like, it's so obvious. I don't know what else you would call it. It's obvious. If they could argue anything I'm saying, they would. They just would. The organization has been inactive since at least 2015 and boasts of having manipulated 33, gotta love that 33, presidential elections worldwide. But don't worry, many of them are in Africa. So, not all of them, but many. And in 27 cases with successful results. Their activities were revealed following a 2022 sting operation in Tel Aviv carried out by 3 undercover journalists who posed as prospective clients and filmed their interactions with Tal, T-A-L, Hanan, H-A-N-A-N, the group's leader and former Bad Guy Land Special Forces operative, in which he explained the inner workings of the organization. According to Tal Hanan, the group's leader, Team Jorge has existed for more than 2 decades and has been engaged in propaganda and disinformation activities in more than 30 countries. Like, they literally brag about this system, this 30,000 bots and all that, and they're not actively removed by the network. You know, Facebook makes such a big deal out of true identities behind the profiles, out of you know, dismantling bot farms and shit like that in foreign countries. And yet when it comes to this one group, for some reason, Zuckerberg does nothing. However, its first documented activity dates back to 2015. Their services have been available to government intelligence agencies, political campaigns, and private companies that wish to covertly manipulate public opinion. One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The software automates centralized control of thousands of fake social media profiles on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Telegram, TikTok, and more. YouTube. The group also employs hacking techniques to brute force accounts of potential victims. I mean, what else do you, like, what else can I do here? What else can I show you? Oh, I've got an idea. You want to hear another thing? Let's check out something else. Act.il. Act.il. Because I'm making all this up, especially when it comes to you know, what's happening on my page, right? Right? Because another schizophrenic streamer, like, the fact that they continue to use the same fucking dumb shit, even though it's wrong. You know, if you're going to call somebody something, at least get it correct. There's no split personalities here. I'm not talking to my shoulders. You know, this wouldn't be schizophrenia if it is something. But, you know, the fact that they continue to use the same things, calling this a bong, saying schizophrenia, it shows you that it's all the same system behind the scenes. And even though I out them, I tell them, look, you sound really stupid saying it wrong, they're so arrogant, they don't change it. Act.il, okay, you see this? Wikipedia. Was a social networking service used by supporters of Bad Guy Land to oppose online anti-Bad Guy Land content, such as the BDS, Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions movement. Its activities were referred to as an online propaganda campaign and a virtual situation room for pro-Bad Guy Land experts. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Because again, I'm lying, right? Act.il directed its users to missions to like, comment on, and share pro-Bad Guy Land material on social media. It also asked users to flag, report, and respond to criticisms of Bad Guy Land. Users were guided on how to respond, which might entail writing a reply using the provided talking points, or sharing or upvoting an allied comment. The app also provided users with ready-made memes promoting Bad Guy Land's perspective for them to share. By completing missions, users earned points, unlocked badges, and had their scores displayed on leaderboards. Guys, do you see this? Like, again, it's not... Isn't it weird how I just happen to make up something that is then completely validated by the system that wants you to have a balanced Zionist perspective on everything? Isn't that fucking strange? Look how desperate they are to change the subject. Look how desperate they are. If you want to talk about submarines, go watch the first 9 parts. I don't need to repeat myself. That gets boring, doesn't it? First 9 parts completely debunk submarines. Go look. There you go. That's your conversation on submarines. Now, why don't we talk about the fact that I'm proving to you that bad guy land controls social media, controls the presidency, controls our perspective on things. Why don't you comment on that? Why do you so desperately want to change the subject? What Americans, what good old Americans, peace-loving Christian Americans don't want this stuff exposed and instead are way more concerned with my perspective on submarines? Isn't that interesting? They can't seem to comment about anything else. Talk about JFK. What's there to talk about? Bad guy land did it. Mossad did it. End of story. The reality of JFK is we're talking about like what, 63, so like 60, almost 70 years ago. Who gives a shit what happened 70 years ago? If you're dumb enough to fall for a Kennedy, I don't know what to tell you. If you think Robert Kennedy is a good guy, you're a dumbass. He's a Kennedy. It's the end of it. There's no argument needed to be made. But Kennedy isn't committing genocide right now. Kennedy isn't pulling us into a war, and I don't even want to call it a war because it's so much more just a massacre that none of us want. Why would any Americans, other than you're a racist piece of shit, why would you want Iran to be attacked and destroyed? What would be your reasoning for it? What's 33 have to do with things? Well, you should look into it. One of my favorite videos, actually. Let's see if I can find it. I can't even find the compilation video, but here you see coronavirus epidemic update 33. Governor Cuomo, 33 confirmed cases of COVID in New York. 33 states see jump in new COVID cases this week. AstraZeneca COVID antibody cocktail, only 33% effective. Here, maybe this will show it.
I could get into a lot more on the number 30, and
Okay.
I could get into a lot more on the number 33, but they almost always put it in when they want to let people know that it's a psychological operation that they're doing. And it's pretty clear this whole corona hoax is a complete psychological operation.
You may know, as of today, and I say as of today at this hour, we have 33 confirmed positive tests for the virus.
Yesterday we had 22 cases. Today we have 33 cases, so it's gone up by 11.
22, 33, 11.
That brings
All these
those
numbers.
are 11 new cases. 22 goes to 33.
As we sort through this here in Arkansas. Today, we have 33 confirmed positive cases in Arkansas.
Arkansas. New York and Arkansas.
As of today, we have 33 confirmed cases with Boston residents.
In Boston,
we
no?
expect those numbers to climb.
As of this afternoon, we have 33 Pennsylvanians who have tested
Pennsylvania
positive
now?
for COVID-19.
Like, see, at this point, I mean, we're not even halfway into the video. But you don't think it's really, really strange that all of these different cities just happen to do a press conference to announce that there are 33 cases? That number is consistent over, like, what are the chances of that? How does that just happen naturally, normally?
So as of this morning, there were 33 confirmed cases in North Carolina.
If Iran had nuclear weapons, isn't it better that we stopped it for everyone's sake? Well, considering Iran hasn't attacked anybody in decades, and they've been on the verge of having nuclear weapons for weeks away for decades, and the one country, bad guy land, that continuously attacks people, that has what's called the Samson option on the books, which is their nuclear deterrence strategy, where if bad guy land is ever invaded and or destroyed, much of bad guy land is ever invaded and or destroyed, they'll launch their nukes in every direction and kill everybody. That's stated on the books. Bad guy land is the only country in the world, like when they show the map, they'll show like countries that have nuclear capabilities in red, countries that don't in blue. And then the one country that, or the countries that we don't know what their status is, are in purple. Bad guy land is the only one that has that purple distinction. Yet they've addressed it time and time again that they have nuclear capabilities. They've used the threats. In '67, they used the Samson option threat to gain support from the U.S., threatened us with it. If you have that logic that we should stop Iran because they have nuclear weapons for everyone's sake, well, then you should absolutely 100% think we need to stop bad guy land, because they're the psychopaths that continuously threaten everyone, continuously attack everyone. If Iran had nuclear weapons, why haven't they used them yet? At this point, it should be pretty obvious that playing it cool and not using their weapons to the fullest potential isn't going to keep them safe. All they've literally done in recent history by a long way is respond to being attacked. Iran had made the nuclear deal with Trump just before they were attacked. The head negotiator for Iran had just met with Trump and had agreed that they weren't going to make nuclear weapons and all this other shit. And he was one of the first people killed. It was like a punishment. It was a threat to Trump. Don't be making deals we don't want you to make. But it's like, how does your brain work that way? How does your brain say, well, if Iran has nukes, then everybody's in danger, but you don't think that way about bad guy land? Yes, bad guy land is pretty obvious who bad guy land is. And while you're distracted by Iran, while you've been distracted by Iran, they've ramped up the genocide in Palestine. There's been a lot of crazy shit where they're attacking the people that come to get food. They have the aid distribution centers, which of course bad guy land insisted on controlling the distribution of food. The networks that had been in place forever to distribute the food in these kinds of situations, bad guy land just took that over. So the people that created need for aid to be distributed are now who's distributing the aid to the people that need it. Can you imagine, there's been this blockade on food for 13, 14 weeks, whatever it is now. You're watching your children starve to death. And the only way you're allowed to get food is to accept it from the people that wanted you dead to begin with. Can you imagine how difficult that choice is? I would assume I'm poisoning my children if I gave them food that bad guy land gave me. With Greta Thunberg, they boarded the ship and then they were trying to give her sandwiches and water because, they were so hungry and thirsty. This is how stupid they are. They literally think that you know what we'll do? We'll show them that we tried to give them sandwiches and water. That'll make us look like good guys. It's the stupidest thing. You're willing to give Greta and her people sandwiches and water, but you're going to block an entire culture from getting food. Children, Hundreds of thousands of children, millions of children. It's such a crazy, crazy fucking narrative. And I cannot understand why anybody would continue falling for it. Anyway.
To you, lots to get to tonight. I'm Leon Hendricks. We want to start with new information into our newsroom. Within the past couple of hours, there are now 33 confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Michigan.
Oh, Michigan has it now.
Everyone. Thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Richard Gerhardt. Karina Corral has the night off. More cases of the coronavirus were confirmed today in San Luis Obispo County, bringing the
San Luis Obispo County.
Right now, Georgia is reporting a total of 99 cases in 19 counties. That is 33 new cases from just yesterday.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Swenson. More cases and more events affected. Here is the latest coronavirus news. There are now 33 cases in Louisiana. As expected,
33 in Louisiana.
The number of cases
As
of
expected.
COVID-19 jumped. A total of 33 people in our state
33
have
people.
been tested and are confirmed to have the coronavirus.
Day 4 of the shelter-at-home order brought 6 new confirmed cases of the coronavirus to San Luis Obispo County, bringing the total number to 33.
San Luis Obispo again.
Troopers will be professional, polite, and will treat everyone with dignity and respect.
These latest steps as the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Rhode Island jumps by
Rhode Island?
3 overnight.
4 more deaths reported overnight. The death toll now stands at least 33.
The Ministry of Public Health has...
I mean, seriously. Seriously, again, this is one of these things where it doesn't matter whether we agree or not. It doesn't matter, you know, what planet you fucking live on. You don't think it's weird that state after state after state uses the number 33? You can't find them all acknowledging that the 42, 17, like that doesn't, you're not going to see all those stories. But they all just happen to be doing the 33 thing. It's so many of these things, thing after thing after thing after thing, that when do you start paying attention? When do you see that? Yes, you can find them acknowledging other numbers because nothing stayed at 33. But you're not going to see them all acknowledging the same numbers. And they're all not just going to have to... The fact that they all happen to jump 33 people, like what? I mean, again, there's just... It's like not even a thing to even explain. If you see it, you don't. If you do, like it's obvious. But remember, it's the same people telling you that bad guy land is the victim here. You know, there's so many videos of Netanyahu saying that we need to attack Iran. The U.S. needs to attack Iran. Iran is weeks away from producing a nuclear warhead and putting everybody in danger. He's not even like a good speaker or charismatic or anything. It's just disgusting. And the craziest part is, again, how the Trumpanzees especially, all of you Trumpanzees, all of you America First Trumpanzees, how are you not absolutely disgusted by what this man is doing regarding this foreign country? Destroying the First Amendment. He's destroying the First Amendment. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the right to protest and assemble, freedom of press, and the right to redress our grievances with our government. Those are the 5 elements of the First Amendment. Those are the foundations of what makes America America, and blah, blah, blah. And yet, you're not upset about this? You're not upset about the fact that to protect a foreign country from being scrutinized, from being talked about, that he is dismantling the First Amendment to do it? You know, it really just shows you how fake all of you pieces of shit are. Anybody who's a military supporter, military man, blah, blah, blah. Anybody who claims to be a First Amendment guy or any of you America First people, blah, blah, blah. When it's obvious, it's like not even in question that the President of the United States is dismantling the First Amendment in order to protect a foreign nation, like, and you ignore it, that you're just fake. That shows you that all of you Trump supporters who claim to be all about America, you're not. You like the fact that he's a racist, sexist, homophobic bigot, and he gets away with it. He gets to say all the things that you guys wish you could say. You have no respect for America. You have no respect for the Constitution and all this other shit. It's not about that for you. It's about your racism and your fear. You know, your fear of people of color. People of color are taking our country. If you believe the narrative that we're given, you stole the country. Using very similar tactics to what bad guy land does. Just today we have, more technology. You make assumptions about us without asking questions. Really? I'm not constantly asking you guys how you can do this, why you can do this, what you're ignoring, not presenting you with all sorts of things that you're just ignoring or talking shit about. Yeah, I'm just making crazy assumptions about you pedophiles. Yep, you got me. All you people who don't come in here and don't be like, yeah, fuck pedophiles. I don't like you, but I hate pedophiles more. But they don't say those things. They want the guy that thinks we should stop talking about killing pedos and exposing bad guys. They want me to stop talking. If you don't like this country, then leave. It's fucking crazy. You don't know me. I know what you present. And you present as a pedophile who hates America and is more than likely a bad guy bot. Pretty simple. Look at how, again, instead of addressing the things that are said, they just start running pull cord. Who would vote for Trump for a third time? MAGA, MAGA. Like, they're just going to start saying dumb shit. And you ask them, like, what has he done to warrant such loyalty? Come on, give me some of the good things that Trump has done. And you would think, again, this is a question, give me some of the good things that Trump has done. You would think they would jump to the opportunity to say, oh, well, he did this, and he did this, and look at how good that's come from this, and this, and this. So not only do they ignore the evidence against, they don't present any evidence for. They're just racist. They're just racist, dumb white guys, or more than likely bots. The one thing is, there's some new people here, I'm sure, so you don't know this, but a lot of these troll profiles have been here for a very long time. They come and they watch me for hours every day, desperately trying to get my attention with stupid comments. Nothing about what I'm talking about, but just desperate. Every day, hours on end. No matter what time of day I go live, no matter how long I go live for, they watch me. And when I say, okay, well, why don't you guys prove that you're not bots by making a video talking about how stupid and bad I am. Make a video smashing me. And prove that you're a real person and not just a bad guy land bot, not just Team Jorge. Not a single fucking one of them takes me up on the offer. Because I'm not worth it. I'm worth watching. I'm worth spending your fucking life on. But to prove any sort of legitimacy, to prove any sort of reality, you just can't do it. Doesn't that seem strange to people? You know, make a short. Make a 5-minute video where you address everything I'm wrong about and tell me how stupid I am. Just from this perspective, do the same thing I'm doing. You have a cell phone, you're probably talking your shit from a cell phone. And not one of them will take me up on the offer. Doesn't that seem strange to people? I just like watching mental illness. See, again, that's something that's like, you know, stereotypical piece of shit says something like that. You know, I just like watching mental illness. Right? Because again, when you can't argue anything said, you desperately go with mental illness or something along those lines. But who's gonna say that? What do you look up people with Down syndrome and shit, and you're one of those people that likes laughing at people with Down syndrome? Is that how that works? I just like watching mental illness. The same goddamn dumbass excuses it always is. That's the best that they can come up with. Understand that, people. Understand that if the opposition could come up with something better, if they could make a reasonable, decent argument, they absolutely would. Nobody likes looking stupid. But they can't help it. Not one fucking video. Not one video. Because I don't matter. I matter enough to watch every day and beg for attention, but not to prove that you're real. In 2025, when we know just how serious the idea of fake profiles and shit is, and then I present you with undeniable proof that Bad Guy Land has something called Team Jorge, where they absolutely use social media. 30,000 profiles on this one group alone, proving that's what they do. Use fake profiles to interfere with and attack people critical of Bad Guy Land. And again, this is something you could do to prove that I'm wrong. You could actually prove me wrong. Not one of them does it. Not one of them does it. Yes, that's not undeniable proof, right? Right. The Team Jorge article isn't undeniable proof, where they literally say that that's what they're doing. Where they literally say that they have use bot farm tactics. Thousands that they have the AIMS software that automates centralized control of thousands of bot farm profiles that they can use to attack anyone they want. That's not undeniable proof. No. The Act IL thing, where they're literally sent on missions to find people like me and then rewarded with points, badges, and a scoreboard, which again, if you're given points, well, I bet there's a payoff. Just because they don't say there's prizes included doesn't mean there's not prizes. When I show you the video of Naftali Bennett, the guy who becomes Prime Minister of Bad Guy Land, bragging that they are at the Wikipedia offices to train the editors on how to edit things so it has a balanced pro-Zionist perspective. That's not undeniable proof, huh? Yet all these dumb claims made against me, well, that's undeniable proof. That proves this and that and the other. How about the fact I repeatedly call you guys pedos and none of you deny it? You're more concerned with my belief of submarines than being outed as a pedo. Interesting how that works, isn't it? Here we go. Got me a good meth blunt. See the meth? Meth. You like your meth? Yeah, I don't know what other undeniable proof you need. How about the fact that when I look up Hamas attacks bad guy land, no videos exist. Morning, buttface. Morning, buttface. How you doing? Good. Feeling tall? Jesus Christ. Holy shit, it happened again. Look at this. Look at it. I have to like lean my head back now. Stop it. No, seriously, stop it. Just think about this. There are so many profiles here like supporting genocide. There are so many profiles here that support pedophilia. You obviously support pedophilia if you're a Trump supporter. You know? There's really no questioning that his pedophilic connections. It's as obvious as it gets. And isn't it weird how Musk announces that Trump is on the Epstein list, and suddenly now Iran we're at war with Iran? I mean, that took what, a week? Week and a half? Got to distract the goy somehow. Oh, Musk was just kidding, right? With all of his access to all the everything he's had access to, he was just kidding. He was just kidding when he came out and said that Trump is on the Epstein list. That's why it hasn't been released. Not only was he kidding, but the list hasn't been released. And even if it does get released at this point, do you understand how stupid this is? Epstein's been dead for 6 years. You don't think they could manufacture a narrative in 6 years? You guys know about Katie Johnson, right? And how Katie Johnson, like, the accusations made against Trump were so strong that he was the defendant in a case. And this was in June of 2020, in the midst of COVID, when you were completely distracted by COVID. Trump was on trial. He was the defendant, or at least set up to be on trial. You know, it was. You're not called the defendant unless there's already action that's been taken. And that the only reason it didn't go all the way through is because the Katie Johnson camp couldn't take the harassment. I mean, look at the harassment I get for, you know, telling the truth about bad guy land and all this stuff. Imagine the harassment that girl and her family got knowing that they could, you know, expose him. Some little girl, you think some little girl is gonna be able to take what I take? Katie Johnson Trump lawsuit. Yeah, let's find the actual paperwork from. Okay, so this is the New York Times. This is the New York Times. You see that? To dismiss indictment based on unlawful appointment of funding. Oh no, this isn't the right one. Why would they show me this when I'm looking up the Katie Johnson shit? Oh wow, the Katie Johnson files have been been removed. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, factual allegations. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, alleges that defendant Donald J. Trump and Jeffrey Epstein did willingly and with such excessive malice violate her civil rights under Act blah 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 by sexually and physically abusing Katie Johnson by forcing her to engage in various. See, it's like it's weird because it's kind of blurry, so you can't see it. Various perverted and degraded sex while being threatened physical harm to plaintiff Johnson and also her family. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, alleges that defendants Donald J. Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, who also, I can't see something where, did willfully, and with extreme malice violate her civil rights by I don't know, something to deny plaintiff Johnson her civil rights. I mean, I can't really read these because they're so blurry. Alleges she was subject to extreme sexual and physical abuse by defendants Trump and Epstein, including forcible rape during a 4-month time period, or time span, covering the months of June to September 1994, when plaintiff Johnson was still only the age of 13. Alleged she was enticed by promises of money and a modeling career to attend a series of underage sex parties held in New York City. Evidence of defendant Jeffrey Epstein and attended by Donald J. Trump. On the first occasion involving defendant Donald Trump, the plaintiff Katie Johnson was forced to sexually stimulate Donald Trump with the use of her hands upon Trump's erect penis while he reached sexual orgasm. Yeah, this is just so hard to read. Let's see what else I can find. Maybe this is... We can see a clearer copy. Here's part 11. On the third occasion involving Donald Trump, the plaintiff, Katie Johnson, was forced to engage in an unnatural lesbian act with her fellow minor and sex slave, Maria Doe, age 12, for sexual enjoyment of Donald Trump. After this sex act, both minors were forced to orally copulate Donald Trump by placing their mouths simultaneously on his erect penis until he achieved sexual orgasm. After zipping up his pants, defendant Trump physically pushed both minors away angrily, berating them for the poor quality of their sexual performance. On the fourth and final sexual encounter with defendant Donald Trump, the plaintiff, Katie Johnson, was tied to a bed by defendant Trump, who then proceeded to forcibly rape plaintiff Johnson. During the course of this savage sexual attack, plaintiff Johnson loudly pleaded with defendant Trump to please wear a condom. Defendant Trump responded by violently striking plaintiff Johnson in the face with his open hand and screaming that he will do whatever he wanted, as he refused to wear protection. After achieving sexual orgasm, defendant Trump put his suit back on, and when the plaintiff, Katie Johnson, in tears, asked defendant Trump what would happen if he had impregnated her, Trump grabbed his wallet, threw some money at her, and screamed that she should use the money to get a fucking abortion. Here's some more of the factual stuff. This is part 5. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, alleges that defendants Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein did willfully and with extreme malice violate her civil rights. Okay, I can read this one now. By sexually and physically abusing plaintiff Johnson, by forcing her to engage in various perverted and depraved sex acts, by threatening physical harm to plaintiff Johnson and also her family. Plaintiff Katie Johnson alleges that defendants Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein also did willfully and with extreme malice violate her civil rights under U.S. 42, blah, 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 blah. Conspiring to deny plaintiff Johnson her civil rights by making her their sex slave. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, alleges she was subject to extreme sexual and physical abuse by defendants Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, including forcible rape during a 4-month time span covering the months of June through September 1994, when plaintiff Johnson was still a minor of 13 years, age 13. The plaintiff, Johnson, alleges she was enticed by promises of money and a modeling career to attend a series of underage sex parties held at the New York residence of Jeffrey Epstein and attended by Donald J. Trump. On the first occasion involving the defendant Donald Trump, the plaintiff, Katie Johnson, was forced to manually stimulate defendant Trump with the use of her hand upon defendant Trump's erect penis until he reached sexual orgasm. The second occasion involved defendant Donald Trump. The plaintiff, Katie Johnson, was forced to orally copulate Donald Trump by placing her mouth upon the defendant's erect penis until he reached sexual orgasm. Wow, this is just crazy. It's so crazy that this exists. I want to find the letter where she bows out. Can't read that one. I wish I saved it. I am a competent adult. This is the declaration in support of plaintiff's request for a protective order. I, Jane Doe, the plaintiff in this matter proceeding under a pseudonym, state as follows. I am a competent adult over 18 years old, able to testify as to personal knowledge. The facts in this declaration are true and correct to the best of my knowledge, information, and belief, and I am competent to testify to them when called to do so. I was subject to extreme sexual and physical abuse by the defendants, including forcible rape that took place at several parties of defendant Epstein during the summer of 1994 in New York at his residence used by defendant Epstein. During this period, I was 13 years old. You know what's so fucked up about this is that Law and Order SVU actually made an episode all about this. They made it into entertainment for themselves. It's so gross. It's a 2-part episode, and the guy gets away with it until he doesn't. He finally gets caught, and when he's in jail, he supposedly hangs himself. The same way that Epstein did. Like, the whole narrative is so clearly Epstein. And then afterward, they show Officer Tutuola and the new Mexican girl, or maybe she's the chosen girl, I'm not really sure what she is. They're talking about it, and she's like, oh yeah, I bet they switched the bodies and blah, 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 blah. And then Tutuola's like, yeah, well, no, they didn't, and we would know. And like, it's so weird how they just play into us and create the perspective that they want us to have. More particularly, I traveled by bus to New York City in June 1994 in the hopes of starting a modeling career. I went to several modeling agencies, but was told I needed to put together a modeling portfolio before I would be considered. I then went to the Port Authority in New York City to start to make my way back home. There, I met a woman who introduced herself to me as Tiffany. She told me about the parties and said that if I would join her at the parties, I would be introduced to people who could get me into the modeling profession. Tiffany also told me I would be paid for attending. The parties were held at a New York City residence that was being used by defendant Jeffrey Epstein. Each of the parties had other minor females and a number of guests of Mr. Epstein, including defendant Donald Trump at the 4 parties I attended. I understood that both Mr. Trump and Mr. Epstein knew I was 13 years old. Defendant Trump had sexual contact with me at 4 different parties in the summer of 1994. In the 4th and final sexual encounter with defendant Trump tied me to a bed, exposed himself to me, and then proceeded to forcibly rape me. During the course of the savage sexual attack, I loudly pleaded for the defendant to stop, but he did not. Defendant Trump responded to my pleas by violently striking me in the face with an open hand and screaming that he would do whatever he wanted. Immediately following this rape, defendant Trump threatened me that if I were ever to reveal any of the details of the defendant Trump's sexual and physical abuse of me, my family and I would be physically harmed if not killed. Defendant Epstein had sexual contact with me at 2 of the parties that summer. On the second occasion involving defendant Epstein forced himself upon me and proceeded to rape me anally and vaginally, despite my loud pleas to stop. Defendant Epstein then attempted to strike me about the head with a closed fist while he angrily screamed at me that he, defendant Epstein, should have been the one who took my virginity, not defendant Trump, before I finally managed to break away from defendant Epstein. Jesus Christ. Plaintiff first notice to submit to physical examination to defendant Donald J. Trump. Please take notice that, pursuant to CPLR 3121, defendant Donald Trump is required to submit to a physical examination by LabCorp at its offices located at 1145 19th Street, NW number 601, Washington, D.C. 20036, or at another location convenient for defendant on March 2nd, 2020. On March 2nd, 2020. Do you understand? Like, that is right when they first started pushing COVID on us. Do you guys get that? Did you guys, at the time, March 2nd, did you guys hear them talking about any of this? Did you hear any of the stuff, any sort of news talk about how Trump is being required to submit to an examination regarding his rape, blah, blah, blah bullshit? Or is this exactly when they started introducing the idea of COVID to us? At 9 a.m., the examination shall obtain a buccal, blood, or skin cell sample from defendant sufficient for DNA analysis in comparison against unidentified male DNA present on the dress of that plaintiff wore during the sexual assault at issue in this action. Dated January 30th, 2020. Roberta Kaplan, of course. Like, think about how nuts this is. I'm gonna look up. I don't want to lose. Whatever. March. Damn it. 2nd, 2020. Let's look up what the news was saying on March 2nd, 2020. 5 years ago, tornado of March. This is a 2025. Why is it giving me 2025 stories? I don't want to know about stories. "10 things you need to know about March 20. Let's see. Wait. This is on March 20, 2020, or March 2nd, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. March 2nd, 2020. Buttigieg ends his presidential campaign. Trump's orders tighter screening for travelers from coronavirus hotspots and more. So, this is when suddenly, out of the blue, multiple candidates ended their campaign for presidency that year. Number one, Buttigieg ends his presidential campaign, which he is now like well compensated for playing his role. He's the Secretary of Travel, or of what is he? Something that has to do with traveling and infrastructure. He's the Secretary of Travel or some shit like that. He got rewarded. He was just a mayor before that. Mayor Pete Buttigieg ended his campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination on Sunday. He was the second candidate to drop out following the dominant victory of former Vice President Joe Biden, a fellow moderate in South Carolina's Saturday primary. Billionaire Tom Steyer suspended his campaign late Saturday. Another billionaire, I don't even remember Tom Steyer. Buttigieg was the first openly gay man to win delegate, blah, 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 blah. Senator Bernie Sanders taking one more delegate than progressive frontrunner Bernie Sanders. So something we didn't know. On March 2nd, 2020, Trump was ordered, it was an official order that he was to submit to a physical examination to get blood, skin, to get DNA tests from him to go against the allegations, the DNA found on the dress and shit. March 2nd, 2020. I'm reading about what happened on March 2nd, 2020. That just happens to be the day that Buttigieg and all those other guys dropped out of the presidential race. This is just one thing. Let's see. Number two, Trump sets up screening for travelers from countries hit by coronavirus. Let's see. Coronavirus, in addition to screening travelers of Trump, they will also be screened when they arrive in America. Thank you. People who have been to China in the last 14 days, those from South Korea, Italy, and other hotspots. No mention of Bad Guy Land, when Bad Guy Land had the most cases per capita of any country when it came to COVID. They also had the highest poke rate of any country. Isn't that strange? What a strange coincidence. The people that got the most pokes also seemingly got the most sick from it. At least that's what they say. So that's two things. Let's see. Number three, coronavirus continues to spread in countries outside of China. So this is when they're really starting to ramp up the idea of coronavirus. Number four, Pence defends Trump, allies who accuse Democrats of politicizing coronavirus. Okay. Number five, judge says Susanelli appointment invalid. Susanelli, I don't know. A federal judge ruled Saturday that President Trump's appointment of Ken Cuccinelli as acting U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Director was invalid. U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss. Seems weird because Cuccinelli or Cuccinelli, I guess. That doesn't sound like a very, I don't know how you say it, chosen name. Yet we know Moss is. Moss and Ross and all of those kind of names. Those are all chosen names. Weird, huh? He didn't want a non-chosen to be put in that position. Number six, Biden Sanders claim momentum ahead of Super Tuesday. Oh, yeah. Number seven, Turkey retaliates for airstrike with attacks on Syrian forces. Turkey on Saturday shot down 2 warplanes and attacked ground forces in northwestern Syria in retaliation for an airstrike that killed 36 Turkish soldiers last week. Geez, this is all weird because these weren't huge stories. Number 8, bad guys vote in third election in a year. Oh, bad guys are voting Monday in their third general election in less than a year. Imagine if another country had 3 different presidential elections in 1 year because it was all so corrupt and it was so fucked up that they just couldn't get it right. Wouldn't the U.S., especially if it was somebody that the U.S. gave billions of dollars to, step in to try to moderate that obvious bullshit? Bad guys voting Monday in their third general election in less than a year after the first 2 ended in deadlock. Prime Minister douchebag bitch-ass motherfucker Benjamin Netanyahu, seeking to continue his 11 years in office, gained in some polls ahead of the vote. But Netanyahu's right-wing bloc, led by his Likud party, is considered likely to split the vote with his main rival, former army chief Benny Gantz, who leads the centrist blue and white alliance, continuing the stalemate. Netanyahu and Gantz each had a turn trying to pull together a ruling coalition after the last vote, but both failed. Netanyahu has remained in charge of a caretaker government ahead of the third vote, but he has had limited powers. So is this where Naftali Bennett were to come in? It was Yahoo, then Benny Gantz won, and then they said, oh, well, it's actually a stalemate. And then Netanyahu's back in charge, and then next one would be Naftali Bennett. South Korea says North Korea launched 2 unidentified projectiles. And number 10, U.S. stocks fight to bounce back from last week's plunge. Gosh, that's weird how it's always doing, oh no, it's plunging. Benny Gantz, a profane homosexual. I mean, I don't think they're necessarily homosexual. You can't, like, when you put those things together, you're not being honest. He's a predator. I guarantee Benny Gantz has violated little girls too. He might prefer boys. He might be, all about the boys, but for them it's about being a predator. He's a profane predator. He's a profane abuser. He's just a horrible piece of shit is what it is. So that's really interesting. Isn't it really interesting how on March 2nd, 2020, when Trump is supposed to, well, that was issued July 30th, when he was supposed to be having his, at 9 a.m., he was supposed to show up for his examination, not a single person was talking about it. And to think that, like, that he's the plaintiff, that there's a defendant, that there's, government resources being put into this, means there was a creditable source. It wasn't just some fly-by-night bullshit. Think about how insane this all is. This is what you're presented as the truth, and the shit that you're not supposed to think about, you're not supposed to worry about. Just do as you're told. This is painful. That's why somebody's making you watch it, right? I love how they always act like somebody's forcing them to be here. Like they couldn't go watch literally anything else in the fucking world. Yeah, for some reason they're forced to be here, right? This is insane. Between Trump and Epstein, like it's really obvious what they were doing, and where this explains where COVID came from. Why we got COVID. And I said it all the way back then. I knew what it was. I didn't have the information to back it up because a lot of this came out in hindsight. But I said from the beginning that COVID was about Epstein. was about keeping the Epstein shit quiet. And it's crazy to think, like, I just predicted it, I guess. You know, I'm just some crazy, wrong conspiracy theorist. But the thing that I happen to say strongly and believe strongly from the beginning is the thing that's been proven to be true. And the weird thing is, like, you can't have the Epstein conversation without having the bad guy land conversation. Although it's constantly done, and that's what they constantly try to do. This was a bad guy land intelligence officer. No doubt about it. He was given the Maxwell identity. He was given the Maxwell fortune. He was given the Playboy lifestyle. He was given everything he wanted so he could facilitate the blackmail operation. Whether you wanted to or not, whether you were a good guy or not, if you ended up at one of these Epstein things, if you weren't willing to do the horrible things, then you were drugged and sort of forced into doing it, and then taped, and then when you said you were going to disagree or you had a problem with something, they showed you the tape of you doing something horrible. Elvis isn't dead. Elvis died in 2011, I believe. I think it was 2011. There was a guy, his name was Jesse. He was a homeless man who everybody said looked like an older Elvis, and he even told stories about how he was an older Elvis and how he was a plant from the beginning, and then they took him out and they ruined his life, and he was this homeless guy. But the thing is, the crux of this is that his DNA profile matched Elvis's. There's only one, your DNA profile doesn't get mixed up with anybody else's. It's like a fingerprint. So the fact that it was reported multiple times that this homeless man, Jesse, found dead under a bridge, had the DNA profile that matched Elvis. It's just fucking, it's just another one of these really obvious conspiracies that people want to pretend like you're crazy for knowing it. You don't have to make anything up. Just know what the information is that they've given you. Know what they've told us. Let's see if I can find it. See if it still exists. Elvis. Let's go homeless. Jesse. Elvis. DNA. Where is the actual article? Because see, what pops up is Snopes, and Snopes is going to say, nope. The body of a homeless man found in San Diego has been identified as that of Elvis. False! Let's see how they spin this. On January 30th, entertainment website Empire News published an article reporting that the body of a homeless man discovered in San Diego had been found through DNA testing to be that of singer Elvis Presley. Earlier this month, 80-year-old homeless man, Whitebeard, was found dead under an overpass in San Diego. Nobody knew his real name, but friends referred to him as Jesse, so investigators decided to try DNA testing with the hopes that something would pop up in the nationwide database. What popped up on the computer screen in the high-tech lab stunned everyone. The DNA results of Jesse Doe were the exact match to Elvis Aaron Presley. Lab tech Robert Brensdale said he and his lab assistant Madeline Hedgepeth laughed at when the name popped up. We thought somebody somewhere somehow in the system pulled the greatest and most elaborate prank on us ever. We both laughed with hysteria for about an hour. Soon afterwards, links Soon afterwards, links and excerpts referencing this article were being circulated via social media, fake that, blah, blah, blah. The spoof was published by Empire News site, nothing fictional story. Blah, blah, blah. The site's disclaimer notes Empire is intended. Yep, that's what it is. So they've just covered it up. And you can't find the actual articles or anything like that. You can only find conspiracy. You can only find Snopes. Hoax busted. IBT Times India. Funny how that just doesn't come up anywhere else. Huh? And if you look into that whole narrative, the Elvis story, kids, illegitimate kids, and all these other things, like, boy, is it fucked up. Elvis was a really fucked up, crazy ass, his girlfriend, his wife was a teenager. He was very fond of teenagers, and then once she had a baby, he wasn't interested in her anymore. He wrote the song Jailhouse Rock. Do you ever wonder what the fuck Jailhouse Rock is about? You ever read the words to Jailhouse Rock? Tell me this is the most closet gay song you've ever heard. Jailhouse Rock. Okay, the full lyrics. The warden threw a party in the county jail. Why would the warden be throwing a party in the county jails? The prison band was there and they began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard those knocked out jailbirds sing. Knocked out jailbirds. That's interesting. What? Went away. Let's try this again. Let's rock, everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the Jailhouse Rock. Spider Murphy played the tenor saxophone. Little Joe was blowing on the slide trombone. The drummer boy from Illinois went crash, boom, bang. The whole rhythm section was a Purple Gang. Gee, who were the Purple Gang? Do you guys know this shit? Do you guys know who the Purple Gang was? Funny how they get mentioned in this song. The Purple Gang was the most vicious, violent group. Like, it's what all of your mafia movies and stories, that's who the real bad guys were. The real people doing the horrible things were the Purple Gang. And the Purple Gang was a gang of bad guys chosen out of Detroit. The Italians were given that whole perspective. The chosen media created the Italian mobster, Godfather, all that shit, to cover up for what they were doing. So nobody was thinking, oh, it's not actually the Italians, it's the bad guys. But it was the bad guys. And they just fucked up. They fucked up and didn't, because they're really stupid. They underestimated the appeal, and they accidentally made these Italian gangsters into like folk heroes. And so what the East Coast Hollywood chosen government did was pass the protocols, the 1930 protocols. What is it called? Forget the name. 1930 protocols, film protocol, whatever, where they made all these rules that said the gangster could no longer win at the end. The cops always had to win. You couldn't make movies that made cops look bad. Gays were not allowed to be used in Hollywood anymore, which is where the term beard came from, because all the chosen studio heads didn't want to lose all their best actors, so they married all their gay guys with their gay females, and they created, that's why so many of those old Hollywood starlets had like 25 marriages and shit. Because it was all just a ruse. It was all fake. The production codes, that's what they were. The production codes of the 1930. I couldn't remember the name. production codes of the 30s. And there was a whole bunch of other shit. But it's also the same time when Shirley Temple's first film comes out. You know what Shirley Temple's first film is? It's a film I wouldn't show on here and I wouldn't share it with anybody because it's fucking child exploitation materials. It's called Baby Burlesque. And it's a 4-year-old Shirley Temple playing the role of a burlesque dancer while other kids, you know, a little boy plays the role of a standard top hat. You know, he's got his weird ass top hat that all those money guys had back then, all the barons and tyrants used to wear. It's such a disgusting, disgusting fucking film. And it's also when shit like The Little Rascals comes into play and like all these Hollywood starts turning into this thing that wants to make it seem like old men hanging out with kids is okay and that, you know, we as adults should be like, what the fuck would adults be doing watching The Little Rascals? Why would any adult want to watch The Little Rascals? Want to watch the love story between Alfalfa and whatever the dumb girl's name is. Like it's crazy. And then of course the Little Rascals are a bunch of street kids and orphans and shit. And it ties into the orphan trains and like there's so much more to it. But hey, let's not talk about that. All right. Let's rock, everybody. Let's rock. Dancing. Number 47 said to number 3, "You're the cutest jailbird I ever did see. I sure would be delighted with your company. Come on and do the jailhouse rock with me." Do you guys realize when, like, what the fuck kind of weird gay prison sex song is this? Let's rock, everybody. Let's rock. Sad sack sitting on a block of stone, way over in the corner, weeping all alone. The warden said, "Hey, buddy, don't you be no square. If you can't find a partner, use a wooden chair." What? Let's rock, blah, blah, blah. Shifty Henry said to Bugs, "For heaven's sake, no one's looking. Now's the chance to make a break." Bugsy turned to Shifty and he said, "Nix, I want to stick around a while and get my kicks." Those are the lyrics to Jailhouse Rock. If you don't think that's fucking weird, I don't know. I just don't know what you're doing. You know, the completely manufactured character that Elvis was. The fucking sick pedo, I mean, it's insane how disgusting that whole narrative is. When Elvis married Priscilla, he was 32 and she was only 21. That's when they married. But they met. Way addressed that. Way earlier than that. Priscilla was 14 years old when she first met Elvis Presley, according to several sources. Elvis was 24 at the time. They met in '59 in West Germany, where Elvis was stationed in the army. Isn't that fucking insane? Like, at what part do you not realize, like, this is fucking nuts? Wow, it's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. And of course, it's the same dumb Americans that are big Elvis fans that are Trumpansies, right? The people that just ignore this monster that is in office. Oh wait, I want to see. if I can find the thing with Katie Johnson drops case. Oh, well, can't find it. Drop suit again. Politico. Abruptly canceled. The accuser identified in the lawsuit. So this was on 11/4/2016. So after Trump didn't do the examination and there was no public outcry or even knowledge about this, she dropped the case. The lawyer who organized the event, the accuser received threats and was too frightened to show up. Here, let's see. The woman who accused Donald Trump of raping her 2 decades ago when she was 13, aspiring teen model, has again dropped a federal lawsuit over alleged assaults. The accuser, identified in the lawsuit by the pseudonym Jane Doe, was expected to appear at a news conference in Los Angeles Wednesday, but the appearance was abruptly canceled. The lawyer who organized the event, Lisa Bloom, said Trump's accuser had received threats and was too frightened to show up. In the most recent suit, Trump's accuser asserted that while she was exploring a modeling career in '94, she attended a series of parties at the Manhattan home of prominent investor Jeffrey Epstein. She alleges that during those parties, the real estate mogul tied her to a bed and raped her. She also claimed Epstein raped her during a series of gatherings. The accuser's lead attorney, Thomas Meager of New Jersey, did not immediately respond to requests for comment. He filed a one-page notice dismissing the case Friday evening in a federal court. No explanation was given for the action. I'm sure that's just how that works. Bloom did not immediately respond to requests for comments. Through his attorney, Trump had flatly denied the... It is categorically untrue. It is completely frivolous. It is baseless. It is irresponsible. Trump attorney Alan Garten told Politico in September, I won't even discuss the merits because it gives credibility that it doesn't deserve. There you go. I won't discuss it. I won't give details or anything because it's not good enough. It's like, again, I'm not going to make a video proving that I'm real because you don't matter. But I'm going to watch you every day for hours and hours and say stupid comments while you ignore me begging for your attention. For months, years on end. Realize that I haven't been on YouTube for more than a year yet because I was on Facebook for a long time. And a lot of these same profiles followed me over from Facebook. Isn't that strange? Do something about it, Dad. Do something about it. Yeah. Yes, look at how much I'm crying. Look at how, somebody's desperate when they can't address what you're saying, but they keep trying to create wins for themselves. You know? You're not going to address anything or argue anything intelligently, but then you're going to make up shit like I'm crying. That's some pretty desperate shit right there. The first suit over the alleged rape was filed in federal court in Riverside, California in April by someone attacking without an attorney and using the name Katie Johnson. The suit named both Trump and Epstein as defendants, alleging that the two men held Johnson as a sex slave and forcibly and repeatedly forced her to engage in sexual acts against her will. Subsequent news reports raised doubts about who filed the suit. Johnson claimed she had just $300 in assets and that she was living at a home in 29 Palms, California. But Radar Online reports neighbors said that the home had been foreclosed upon and vacant since the owner died last year. Yep. Yeah, but why didn't the news just find it? Why didn't the news just find the home and be like, look, we've seen this, not what the neighbors say. What does that matter? You can report that the neighbors have said anything if that's what you wanted to do. These are the things that you have to be able to see through. This is where it requires your immediate, Don't just believe what you're told. Look at what you're told. Look at what they actually say. The idea that this woman was living check to check, her brain was broken and it prevented her from, achieving success. That's what a pretty standard symptom of abuse is. When they become adults, they're all fucked up. There's an article by a website out of bad guy land called Israel Hayom. That's the website's name, Israel Hayom. It's all bad guys. There's no Goyim attachment to it at all. And they put out an article titled Bottom of Darkness. And it was this huge expose into the ritualistic sexual assaults that are really extremely common in bad guy land. In all parts of bad guy land. Rich, poor, secular, fucking ultra orthodox, all these different communities have just incredible amounts of ritualistic sexual abuse, including like seriously, like groups of men reciting psalms and shit like that in weird garb and inserting things and raping kids and doing all these insane things that just it's incomprehensible. And all these people interviewed from all different parts, all different walks of life, they didn't know each other, yet somehow they were all telling basically the same story. U.S. District Judge Dolly G. dismissed the case in May, ruling that Johnson's complaint didn't raise valid claims under federal law. An appointee of President Barack Obama noted that the suit cited a criminal statute that doesn't give rise to civil damages, and that the civil suit Johnson cited only applies to actions based on race-based or class-based animus. Another version of the suit was filed in federal court in June, but withdrawn in September after apparently never being served on the defendants. The case was refiled later that month. The second and third iterations of the complaint accused Trump of only a single act of rape, but said he had sexual contact with the accuser on 3 other occasions. A declaration from an anonymous witness attached to the later suits continued to accuse Trump of 4 acts of rape or sexual assault. A lawyer for Epstein declined to comment on the lawsuits. About a decade ago, Epstein came under investigation by local and federal authorities near his Palm Beach home, Florida, over allegations that he solicited underage girls to have sex with him at the residence and another on an island he owned in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Epstein pleaded guilty in June 2008 to 2 state felony charges relating to prostitution and was sentenced to 18 months in jail. 2 felony charges. He has 2 felonies on his record and was given 18 months in jail. He only served 13 months before being released, but was required to register as a sex offender. And, gotta love that, 13. And he was and his jail sentence was that he had to sleep at the jail. That's it. And he didn't even do that. Like, that whole narrative is so fucking weird. It's so fucking weird. Oh, that's the end of that article. That was Politico. It's weird how there's no, focus on why. Why did this happen? One of the accused attorneys on me filed on one page. Neither he nor second attorney listed immediately responded to questions about the document. The woman who was filed suit earlier, which was 13-year-old model, this week she abruptly canceled plans to speak. I mean, this is all the same. Why is it all the same wording? Lisa Bloom, her attorney, cited numerous threats against her client. She has been here all day, ready to do it, but unfortunately she is in terrible fear, Bloom said on Wednesday. Bloom's mother, Gloria Allred, Jesus Christ, is an attorney representing several women who have accused Trump of sexual misconduct. Trump has been given a tentative court date for the civil lawsuit of December 16th and has denied all accusations made against him. Weird how many accusations have been made against this man. And people say, oh, it's because he's powerful. But there are so many rich, powerful people who don't have any accusations against them. Why does this piece of shit seem to have so many allegations against him? It's not like it works out either. It's not like you hear about these allegations and then suddenly people are paid off and it goes, you know, and they just, oh, it's an easy way to make some money. That's not how that works. If anything, the people are vilified by the system, by the press. So why would people continue to put themselves in that position? This is basically, Alan Gartner, the lawyer for the Trump organization, told The Guardian the claims were a complete fabrication. This is basically a sham lawsuit brought by someone who desires to impact the presidential election. Wow. Didn't work. Didn't work. A virtually identical lawsuit was filed in April in California and dismissed for technical errors. Technical errors. An investigation linked the lawsuits to Norm Lubo, a former television producer with a history of disputed allegations against celebrities. Both suits named Epstein, a financier who was convicted of soliciting sex from an underage girl in 2008. And human trafficking. Let's be real here. The court order to Trump and Epstein's attorney gave no details of Doe's complaint, but the original suit alleged that Trump assaulted her, blah, blah, blah. So that's just it. You cannot find, you can't find a definitive explanation as to why this all went down. I mean, it's like, so the girl says, I can't do this because I'm being threatened. I'm scared for my family. I'm scared for this. I'm scared for that. Why doesn't anybody go interview her about it? I mean, just think about how goofy this shit is. We have one of these fake profiles here that is just repeating himself over and over again. The submarine conversation, if you really want to know about submarines, go watch part 1 through 9. I completely debunk it. It's completely debunked and nobody can say anything to the contrary. If submarines are my belief in submarines are more important to you than the presidents and the wars and the genocide and the pedophilia and all that other stuff, well then go have the conversation. Go watch the video where I make all the actual points and then debunk the points. I'll see the comments. If you make good ones, I'll bring it up in the next video. The thing is, just like the video proving that any of you are actually real and not just more Team Jorge bad guy bots, you won't do it. Simple thing. The easiest thing that these idiots could do to prove and to get any sort of credibility is make a video about how stupid I am. Because, that's what you always see. You always see people, clout chasers, telling people to go make a video about me. Go tell everybody how awful I am. That's what they do. Go share all of my deepest, darkest secrets and expose me for being whatever the fuck you think you can. You know? Seems pretty obvious that if like that's an invitation to make me look bad. I'll even play the video on the live feed. I'll play it just like this so everybody can see and hear everything you have to say. And they'll also see that you're a real life person. And not a single person. I've been making this challenge for at least a year. Or close to it at least. And not a single one of these profiles, not a single fucking one is willing to prove their legitimacy. Doesn't it just seem kind of strange to people? The same people that watch me for hours on end, beg for my attention through stupid comments. You know, days on end, months on end, years on end, these people have been watching me day after day for hours. And not one of them is willing to prove themselves to be real. There used to be a group that would like simultaneously broadcast my feed on their page and then act like they were talking to me. It was the weirdest thing, but of course the person's identity was always kept hidden. They never showed their own face. Seems really, really strange to me. Especially since they have such identifiable features. You could clearly see if it was they that was doing it, if they did make the video. Strange how they never seem to. Why do you think that is? Like, how many of you are that big of a coward that you're gonna stalk somebody and you know, beg for their attention every day, and then they say, all right, well, just show me that you're real and make a video about me, and you're gonna be, no, I don't do that. Like, they're just so dumb. It really is embarrassing. That's kind of the worst part of this, right? That the Goyim are being subjugated and enslaved while being abused on every front possible by such a dumb, inferior group of people. The only reason that they're so successful is because, one, they're so well organized and they're so supremacist that it doesn't matter, you know, your background to some extent. Like if you're Filipino, they're gonna pay you to leave. Let's see. See if I can find that article. But they have us hating each other over everything. And as long as we're distracted by the things we hate each other over, Philippines, no, that's not it. Philippines urge Filipinos in bad guy land, Iran to leave as conflict escalates. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Wow, this is really weird. Yeah, let's do that thing where we did it before. Time range, active, near plus. Okay, so I'm finding something that's responding to it, but they're not really talking about it. This is an editorial by the Haaretz that says, "Leave the Filipinos in bad guy land alone." The Population and Immigration Authority launched an operation about a month ago to encourage the willing departure. Now it won't let me read anymore. Okay. Population and Immigration Authority. It's weird how Filipino is spelled with an F, but Philippines is with a P. Let's see if this works. God damn, it's not working. Oh, here you go. Okay. This is I-24. This is their shit. Bad Guy Land offers Filipino families $5,000 to voluntarily leave the country. Bad Guy Land launched a voluntary exit operation for Filipino citizens residing illegally in the country, and Population and Immigration Authorities announced on Friday. It will be aimed at families with children and will offer them voluntary departure from the J state, which they call it, in return for a grant of $5,000, which will be spread over 1 year. More than a decade ago, never heard about this, a similar attempt was made to expel families of Filipino citizens, mostly mothers with their children, from Bad Guy Land, but the operation provoked strong public opposition and ultimately failed. Bad Guy Land's Population and Immigration Authority drew conclusions and launched a new program in cooperation with the Philippine government and the Philippine Embassy in Bad Guy Land. Families wishing to leave the country can contact a special center that will carry out the procedure for them. According to Tomer Moskowitz, very, very Semitic name there, the director of the Population and Immigration Authority, most of the illegal immigrants entered as tourists, Eritreans and Sudanese, he told Walla News. We are seriously working on another voluntary exit operation for nationals staying here, details of which will be released in the near future. According to the official data, 30,000 illegal immigrants reside in Bad Guy Land in 2020. Don't you mean closer to 9 million, 10 million? Because anybody that claims Bad Guy Land is an illegal immigrant. In January 2018, the government approved an agreement to deport them to a third country, Rwanda, with a grant of $3,500, and Kigali was to receive an additional $5,000 for each person received. Deport the Filipinos to Rwanda. Oh my God, it's just so crazy. The plan did not materialize due to European pressure on the Rwandan presidency, and the deal fell apart. That is just fucking nuts. It's nuts. I love how the idea that nobody cares, but you're going to watch me for hours on end every day. Gotcha. You mustn't care. It's like 95 degrees here today. so fucking hot, and it's humid as fuck. I don't even want to go to the beach today. It's too hot. We're at war right now, guys. We're at war over these fucking psychopaths. Netanyahu is the biggest, just is easily one of the worst people to have ever existed. But right next to him is Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich and Donald Trump. These people are just the worst of the worst. And really, these people at least are who they are. Your average Trump pansy is fake as fuck. They're not even, they don't even have the balls. They're not even confident enough to admit that, they're just racist pieces of shit. They're insecure, racist, little dick white dudes who are sexist, homophobic, all of those things. But they're cowards. They're too cowardly to admit it. Right? And instead of admitting who they really are, they pretend like they're these America First people, when they clearly don't give a shit about America. And you have to understand that the majority of the profiles on here talking shit are just bots, or Team Jorge bots, proven without a shadow of a doubt. If we were in court and I presented my case, compared to anything else, like there's no other better option that's been levied. With the information I've shown you on this video, and it's all information that they want us to know. It's not even like it's my information. I made some shit up or I found it on some crazy dark corner of a conspiracy page. This is the front and center. This is what they want us to know. Nothing hidden. There is no denying that. When I tell you guys that the majority of these profiles are also pedophiles, and you see that not one of them denies it, and that if you try to understand the enormity of the pedophile problem, like most of us get away with thinking, oh, that's not going to affect me. That's nothing, that's nothing. Don't worry about it. But the reality is, like, when you look at how many pedophile hunters exist just on YouTube, not including, there are plenty of them that aren't on YouTube. There are plenty of them that exist in all different forms, especially the ones that like to find them and beat them up. Dads Against Predator, DAP, is one of my favorites because they beat the shit out of these guys. Knowing the cops aren't going to do anything about it, give them a slap on the wrist, they beat them up. And they hopefully scare them into thinking, if they show up somewhere else, they're going to get beat up again. Because all the cops do is take them out of the situation and then let them go. They make it look like they're arresting them or they're doing something, but they're just helping them escape. But when you look at like how many different pedophile hunters there are who are catching people every day, sometimes multiple times a day, and they don't even go anywhere. They just stay in their own little area of the woods, and they're still able to catch people almost daily. And that's only the people that they can catch. They're hit up by hundreds of profiles. Every time they make a fake profile, they're hit up by hundreds of profiles, thousands of profiles. There's only, there's only the real few sickos. There's that crane. There's just a few sickos that are, you know, out of the total number, there's a small portion that are so depraved that they'll actually go try to, you know, that pictures and videos and shit don't work for them. But they do trade in pictures and videos. But it's thousands. Those thousands that don't get caught. Multiple different pedophile hunters. They don't have to wait. You know, they don't have to like force it to happen in any sort of way. Yet they have to go bend over backwards and make it actually stupidly obvious, which prevents them from being able to catch all the people they could. But you're okay with me being 13, right? It's okay, right? Like, because that's how people talk. They got to mention it multiple times. But when you think about how many people don't get caught, you know, if you go look at the pedo registry in the neighborhood you live in, you're going to find that there's probably more than one person on your street. And that's just the people that have been caught. With the size, with the ease that it operates, that these hunters operate with, that they could just be like, you know what, today I'm going to find somebody, set up a profile, and within an hour they have somebody on the hook. It's just the enormity of it is beyond your comprehension. And it's also the people who are real good at navigating the backdoor channels of the internet. The people who are good at making fake profiles, you know. So you have to understand that a large portion of my opposition is pedophiles. The reality is, most people, doesn't matter whether you agree with me on, you know, the conspiracy history of things, Tartaria, the round earth, whatever. When you find out that the goal is to kill pedos, it's like, okay, well, then I can get behind that. For years, the whole bad guy land argument was a hard one to push. Now, you can't find people that support bad guy land, other than the fake profiles on here, of course. And look, just look at the comments, man. There's not a single one that actually debunks my argument at all. If anything, they acknowledge it. They're so stupid they think they say something when really they're just acknowledging what I'm saying. The thing about Bad Guy Land is it has a tremendous pedophile association with it. When you look at Hollywood and who controls Hollywood and who's consistently caught not just raping children, but women, you know, the whole rape culture associated with Hollywood, when they get their patsies like Diddy, they blow the story up. It's all anybody can talk about. Yet when it has to do with an Epstein, Weinstein, this, that, and the other, they cover everything up. And when you hear these Trumpanzee bigots who claim that they're just in their bigotry towards gay people and trans people and whatnot and all that, because they're just trying to protect the children, it's just not true. It's clearly not true. If they really wanted to protect the children, they'd be screaming, we need to expose all this shit. Why are there so many Hollywood executives, chosen executives, that get in trouble for this shit? Why isn't there more investigation into it? Why are the allegations constantly, you know, covered up and silenced? You know, you have like a lot of these, especially these female actresses who, you know, like Rose McGowan and Gwyneth Paltrow and all of these that had millions of dollars in the bank. They literally have no need to get any sort of publicity. If they come out and do something, people are going to pay attention. It doesn't matter. And they're both actually really great actresses. So they could easily get work if there wasn't a chosen conspiracy surrounding things and blacklisting them. Greta Thunberg, same thing. The idea that it's a publicity stunt. She's Greta Thunberg. She could fucking get publicity any way she wants to. Putting her life on the line by trying to bring aid to Palestinians is like the worst mistake she could make. At least as far as, trying to get publicity for publicity's sake. Trying to get attention for attention's sake. Same thing with me. I mean, you see the same things with these idiots on here that I'm just trying to get attention. If I was trying to get attention, I'd be selling Jesus. And I'd be a rich man for doing it. Just turn into a televangelist with my birthday and my family situation and everything, all the weird little connections that exist. I could sell the shit out of some Jesus. I'd get all the attention I ever wanted. I'd be rich. But it's not that. Just dumbass comments over and over again. Not debunking anything. Why won't they just debunk? Debate. Why don't you make any reasonable points? Why does everything you do prove I'm right? I've been right. It's so goddamn obvious. It's like a joke. It's amazing that anybody ever falls for any of it anymore. Look at this shit. Look at how crazy this stupid shit is. Everything they can, anything they can, they'll bring up the dumbest shit they can think of, and yet won't denounce genocide, won't denounce pedophilia, won't denounce slavery. What they just, doesn't this seem strange to you guys? Why wouldn't they be quicker to, who is going to get the platform and then not say anything that matters? It would be shocking if it wasn't so disgusting. Wasn't all part of this manipulation plan to keep us these stupid fucking slaves. So the Talmud comes true. And every one of them gets 2,800 Gentile Goyim slaves. This isn't my interpretation. This isn't some, crazy conspiracy theory. This is literally what they believe. The Talmud is their main book. It's not the Torah. It's the Talmud. And the Talmud flat out says, in the Messianic era, when the Messiah comes back, which they believe is now, they're going to entice the Messiah to come back by committing genocide, because their belief structure is really gross. By spilling as much blood as they can, by blood libel, as big a blood libel as they can do. That's going to bring the Messiah back. And when that happens, each one of them gets 2,800 slaves. That's even possible. One person could command 2,800 people to be their slave. Why wouldn't we just fucking rise against it and kill them? Just think about how ridiculous that is. Again, look at how similar the typing structure is with all of these comments. They make the same spelling errors, they make the same grammatical errors, and they say the same fucking things verbatim, just different profiles. You think that's by chance? You think that's by chance? Yeah. Can you imagine somebody going on any other YouTube page and being like, you're talking about stuff too much. You should be doing something else. I'm going to keep watching you for as long as you do it, day after day after day, but you shouldn't do this. You should be doing other things. You ever seen that on a YouTube page? Have you ever seen anything like what you see on my page? I guarantee none of you say yes. I know I've never seen it. I've been in the background of lots and lots of videos and I've never seen it. I watch Direct D a lot. He's dealing with all kinds of crazy shit. Nothing like this. And he's a much more popular guy than me. And he's much more, like, when it comes to local shit and law and stuff like that, he's much more educated than I am. He's much better at this than I am. He doesn't talk about the big thing. And really, the worst part about the First Amendment, guys, is that, not everybody gets to do it. You go out there, try to be a First Amendment guy, you're probably going to get locked up and you won't get the audience you think you will. Yet certain guys like Direct D, now, mind you, he's good looking, he's charismatic, he's funny, he checks all the boxes. But I've commented shit on his feeds before that gets removed. So I don't know if that's him removing it or that's the system, but it would behoove the system to put a lot of guys out there like him. That encourage us, that empower us, that strengthen us to stand up to the police and get a bunch more charges. And give the police the excuse to beat them down that they're looking for, they're begging for. There is a guy, Sergeant Joseph, what's his name? I don't remember his last name. Oh, there it is. Deposition of Sergeant. I highly suggest you watch this.
Looks like we've told people Liberty Mutual.
Sergeant Joffrian. Sergeant Joseph Joffrian. It was posted yesterday, and it was the deposition of this piece of shit. And he is the most he has no respect for the law. He has no respect for the judicial system that he's involved in. He's just this arrogant, ugly little piece of shit troll who, literally tells the investigator or the lawyer, I guess, that's deposing him, that he doesn't know the law. He doesn't recall he doesn't know anything about the First Amendment. He literally says all this just insane shit. And yet he's still working for the Waveland, what's it gonna say on here? Yeah, the Waveland, city of Waveland, Mississippi, police department. He's still a sergeant there. And this guy is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen.
All right, cool.
This literally is one of the dumbest cops I've ever seen. Vagrancy. This piece of shit. Who clearly shaves his arms all the time. Can you imagine this big macho man shaving his arms?
Sir, I'm standing on a public sidewalk engaged in constitutionally protected activity.
Correct. But I'm letting you know you're going to go to jail, no questions asked.
Even if I'm standing on a public sidewalk?
Yes. How many times do I got to explain it to you?
So if I don't give you ID, I'm going to jail.
Going to jail for failure to identify.
Can I just leave?
If you wish to do so, but I need to identify you.
I don't wish to do so. I'd like to stay here.
You're not going to stay here, period. I'll let you know.
Do I have to leave?
Yes.
He's just a horrible, horrible piece of shit.
I'm giving you a lawful order to leave.
And if I don't leave?
You're going to jail.
I'll go to jail.
For
And
failure.
your officer, Sergeant Joffrian?
Sergeant Joffrion, that's right.
Joffrion.
Good day. So if I don't leave, I'll go to jail.
He doesn't need to identify. So anyway, I'm just gonna
Do you know what the Fourth Amendment to the United States
watch this piece of shit.
Have you reviewed the body cam footage
Balding fucking goofus.
during your interaction with Mr. Gray? Yes. When was the last time that you reviewed that? Yesterday. What's your understanding of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution?
I don't recall. I'm not an expert.
I'm not an expert. He's a law enforcement officer.
Do you know what the First Amendment protects at all?
I don't recall.
I don't recall, is what he says
Do you
throughout the
know
whole
what the
thing.
Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution
I don't recall.
protects? Do you know what the Mississippi Constitution provides regarding the right of the people to peaceably assemble and petition the government?
Don't recall. Look at the smile on his
Do you know
face.
what the
He looks
Constitution
pretty chosen, actually.
provides regarding freedom of speech and freedom of press?
I don't recall.
Do you
But see,
know
what you saw in the beginning is what they want. They want people to, because this guy, what's going to happen to this guy is nothing. He got in no trouble for this, even though there was a huge outcry, there was public attention. He got in no trouble. And if there is some sort of lawsuit that goes through, then we have to pay for it. The public pays for it. He doesn't pay for it. And that's only if you can get that to happen. If you can't get that to happen, you still have to pay your bond, your fines, and all this other bullshit until you can pay the judge in the system and a lawyer, all of which are usually Jay, to represent you or defend you or whatever it may be. So no matter what happens, you end up paying into the system lots and lots of money. And that's what it encourages people to do. It encourages people to stand up for their rights when they're not nearly as knowledgeable, as intelligent, as cool under fire as someone like Direct D can be. Direct D also has a huge following. So they know that if they do something to him, which they don't even seem to care because they still do it, they still violate him. But they know that there's going to be a tremendous outcry, that the police station will get just phone call after phone call after phone call, which should be happening. And the Waveland City Police should be getting phone calls demanding that Sergeant Joffrion get fucking terminated immediately. He's a danger. He's a dangerous man. He is a psychopath. He's just a really, really horrible piece of shit who more than likely got beat up in school all the time. More than likely never had a girlfriend he didn't, have to pay for. More than likely is on the juice. When you look at how his mannerisms and everything are, this guy is a monster. If I was a female, I would be terrified if he pulled me over. But, there's these guys out there with these huge networks that empower people. When people see something like that, they feel empowered. Because they know that the person they're watching is right. He's justified. He's warranted in what he does and how the things he's saying. I don't have to just show you ID because you demand it. It's not how it works. And we all know that. We all know that we're supposed to be in this free country and all this other bullshit. So then you see this and you feel like it, and then the cop comes and fucks with you, and you're not knowledgeable. You don't know the ins and outs of the laws. You can't then recite the things, or even if you have some sort of, cursory knowledge, when you're in that situation and your adrenaline's going, you're not thinking straight. The only thing I can suggest that you do is you not talk to them. Other than giving them your name and whatever, you know, identifiable information they need if the situation warrants it, you don't talk to them. Where you're going, where you've been, what you're up to, you know, blah, all that shit does not matter. They do not, all they're doing is fishing for reasons to fuck with you, to get more money out of you. It's a revenue generator. That's all it is. The vast majority of the police videos that exist, yes, they stop some people that are speeding, or they even step in to stop people actually committing crimes. But the vast majority of it is just fucking with people. Oh, you forgot to use your turn signal. Oh, you were going a little too fast. Look at that hawk. Go get him, hawk. Oh, wow, that was cool as hell. See, you know how you're a dumbass? Because you say CP. When pornography is a willing exchange, a contract between two consenting adults who get paid or whatever, who both have a stake in it. Child exploitation materials are the things that you guys really enjoy and you guys share amongst yourselves. That's what you're fucking trying to do. That's what a lot of this is. You're finding like-minded people because, you know, the memos that go through the dark web let you know that if you want to, you know, shop without having to use the dark web, just go to truther pages and say stupid shit, and then people will reach out. And, you know, the vast majority of these profiles are just, bad guy land bots, desperate to try to do anything they can to hurt me. And because I hurt them by exposing them as the pedos they are and suggesting that we kill them, they try to say the same shit back, but it just doesn't work. There's no sense behind your argument. I'm not going to make the video where the main point is that we kill pedos and be one. That just doesn't make any sense. But this is the desperation. That's all you're going to see when you come to my feed. You're never going to see intelligent debate or discourse because they're not capable of it. Realize that. They are incapable of intelligent discourse. They're stupid. They're a stupid inbred people. And nothing I'm saying is false. It's just, it's undeniable. So, again, we've been drug into a fucking war where Americans are now in danger. And it's all because of Netanyahu and these crazy, crazy fucking bad guys. I've shown you repeatedly how they control social media. I've shown you repeatedly how they infiltrate opposition to their control and what they do, and the actual, like, the evidence showing that they, not just the evidence on here where you can see it for yourself, but the evidence where, you know, it backs up these claims without a doubt. You know, there's no way of denying this. You can look at that through the comments all you want, even though they'll disappear after the video's over for some reason. And you're not going to find anything where anybody is even slightly intelligent enough to debunk what I'm saying, even a little bit. You know? They're desperate right now. They realize, like, they have to realize, they have to see it. All you have to do is look, and you can see a small portion of the resistance, because they don't cover it in its full entirety. But the vast majority of us are opposed to these psychopaths. Sure, you're going to see a bunch of fake profiles on here that apparently aren't. But it's everywhere. Their time is coming. We will eliminate this cult soon enough. It's not until we realize that that's what the problem is. So many people see, that there's something wrong, and they have issues and all that stuff, but they keep talking about bad guy land. They keep talking about the invisible house that we're supposed to be focused on instead of who lives in the house. The cult that's behind all of the things that we oppose. The pedophilia, the genocide, the slavery, that cult, like, that's their identity. That's what they represent, those three things more than anything. And, of course they're going to come after me. Why wouldn't? That would be stupid not to. I am the best when it comes to this thing. Clearly, I'm the best. If I wasn't, then you would see other people get it. They're terrified of me, especially because of the happy thing. The leader of the resistance can't be a white guy. It can't be a black guy. We're too inherently racist and prejudiced against each other. But let it be a happy, and that breaks that rule. Not a Christian, not a Muslim, none of those nonsense things. So there's no favoritism anyway. It's all fucked up. It's all bad. And as soon as me or someone like me gets any sort of real footing, they know that their illusion's going to fall apart. I'm allowed to have these videos where they get a few thousand views, and they can keep track of what someone like me is thinking, and they can pay attention, they can gauge the resistance. But let it be a video where I'm on pace to hit well over 20,000. As soon as that 20,000 number is reached, or at least it seems like it's going to be reached, they're going to shut me down. It's just how that works. And I'm not stupid. I realize that I'm using the platform they give me to talk about this. I'm only here because they allow me to be. They allow me to be here for, to watch, to see, to gauge. But every time I get past 20,000 views in a couple hours, like only famous people do, they shut it down. That's how that works. But it is what it is. And until we Goyim proudly spit in their fucking faces, tell them we're done with this shit, we're going to continue to be victimized by it. And it's just going to keep getting worse. So, to me, the most important weapon we have is music. Music crosses all lines, covers all cultures and shit. And even if people don't know all of the words, they can look up the words and they can understand what the song is about, so they can then get behind it. It's a lot harder to get behind something like this, where someone like me speaks freely, uses slang that other countries don't know. And, I don't use a lot of slang, but there are words that in our everyday culture that we don't realize are foreign words to foreign English speakers. But music is one of those things that crosses all the boundaries. So go get your free download, www.the-bilderberg, BILDERBERG-group.com. It's free to download. All we ask is that you share it with people. It'll ask you how much you want to pay for it. If you put 0, that's totally cool. If you want to donate, we really do appreciate it. We've appreciated all of the donations so far. And, we will continue to appreciate them. This is as grassroots as 2025 can get. So go get your free download. Again, all we ever ask is that you just share it with somebody. Just play it with somebody else in the car, just something. Because music is how we reach each other. That's why they control it like they do. That's why they have such an iron fist in the music industry. And they make sure that all we get is dumb fucking Bacardi party songs. I'm going to leave you a link to Hollywoodism, which is the most important film ever made. It explains the entire conspiracy to you, and it's them doing it. You can't blame it on some, oh, that's just goyim, that's just tropes. Those are just anti-supremacism tropes. You can't do that. They made it. Go watch it. If I'm wrong, go watch it and tell me what I'm wrong about. You won't, but do it. And I'm going to leave you with 2 links to 2 of our newest songs, COVID Sauce and Donald Trump Hates America, the music videos that are on Facebook. Like, share, sub here. You know, it's all about connection. It's all about unity. Goyim unity is the solution to this cancerous fucking chosen plague. It's the thing that scares them more than anything is when we're unified. So show them the unity that we truly are and that we're going to destroy them with. And have a great day. Oh, and most important thing, the most important thing I say all day, every day in these videos. Because of the way that our system works, because you get slapped on the wrist or you don't even get in trouble in the first place, do one good thing in your life. And pedophiles, kill yourself.